Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with this nerd today. And as you can see, Nate the Nerdarchy is in the chat, chatting away with you guys, and he's not sitting over here.
So Nate is here virtually with us again. We forgot to put Domo back here,
right? Or maybe at least the Rancor or something, something suitable. One of Ted's children, maybe both of Ted's children. One on the shoulders of the other one.
That would be amusing for a very short amount of time. Because they're not going to sit here for an hour.
And they're probably going to topple and take everything with them.
They're going to play with all the stuff on the shelf. It'd be nuts.
So what's up, guys? Man, you got any gaming going on this weekend? Anything exciting? I think this is an off week for us.
This is an off week. I did have my game last night, so my gaming for the weekend is covered. And oh my word. So if you haven't checked out that game, please do so. It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I think something about were-sharks has been teased. I'm not entirely sure, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Were-sharks.
You can't go wrong with the sharks of the were variety.
Indeed.
If you don't see the video, it is because you're evil.
If you don't see the video, it's because you're evil?
Yeah, that's what someone said, man. I guess sometimes you just have to hit refresh, but if the video isn't playing for you, me telling you have to hit refresh isn't going to do a goddamn thing. So there's that. We got 3 episodes of Critical Role under our belt. Just watched that last night.
Yeah, I'd watched it Friday morning.
And then what do we got?
So, yeah.
This week, episode 2, our review of that'll come out, and then episode 3 will be out the following week. So we're like lagging intentionally 2 weeks behind.
Well, it's because of when it airs on YouTube. We want to give everybody a chance to see it in whatever vein that they're going to, whether it be Twitch, Alpha, or YouTube.
At Nerdarchy, very funny video. I haven't finished yet. I wonder if he's talking with Nate the Nerdarchy. I'm not entirely sure which video you're talking about.
Maybe he's referencing my game.
Or the Critical Role video, maybe.
I don't know.
Or it could be your game, because the games are a little bit longer. The chat is a mysterious and confusing place at times.
It's its own swirling soup of everything.
So who was in your game last night?
So we finally actually had the 4 locked-in players for the RPG Crate game. It is Jake Newman from his channel. We have Asa and Megan as staff writers, and then Fraginator from just a fan
from wherever Fraginators come from. I believe it's like Washington or something. All the Fraginators are over there.
They're a good mix of role playing. They bring interesting characters to the mix. And they all enjoy doing one-shots so that they get to play a variety of different character builds and character archetypes.
French Taunter. I always miss Critical Role Live since it's like 4 a.m. when it starts. Yeah, there's that. And I don't bother watching it when it's live either because, 10 o'clock, I think it comes on at like 10 o'clock at night for us, and they can go 4 or 5 hours. I'm like, that'd be a bit rough. And Wednesday night is, Wednesday's already a late night for me with the Saver Dice game. So I'm like, Friday is just easier. And then also, my wife has to get up early to go to work in the morning. So if, she's going to watch it with me, Friday's better. Although I did have to watch Solo last night.
I throw it on. I take the kids to school in the morning at 9 o'clock. I come home, I throw it on, and work my morning and early afternoon away.
I'll tell you one thing, man. That episode reminded me how awesome the duplicity ability is. Like, I know, like, the one ability we rag on a lot is, like, when you can give someone else advantage, but you can't really do it for yourself. Like, it's like, that's kind of lame. But that duplicity is friggin' awesome. The illusionary dupe that you can cast spells through or gives you advantage and stuff like that.
She worked it well in that episode.
Yeah, I mean, you combine that with some rogue levels, I think. Matter of fact, you just dip to get that and just be a rogue, probably. Close enough. So, I guess if you guys have GM911s or questions, we can take them. As always, just put question in front of it so we can find it.
All right. 4th edition or Pathfinder? What's your preference?
I don't know. Honestly, I would probably play either, but neither is like my preferred system.
I think I'd rather choose 4th. I think it's less crunchy.
There you go. I'd play either. I'd rather run fourth than Pathfinder because there's so much more rules to remember and have to they're going to come into question. So there's definitely that. Adam Foisey has a question. Oh yeah, before I get to that, I just wanted to say so our Star Wars game is on hiatus. Right? I don't know if you guys care or not, but we're playing a Star Wars game that Mike Ravinsky's running for us, and so we've got 3 sessions in, and I'm just putting up all the rest of the sessions this weekend. So today one went up, tomorrow the other one will go up. They're not super long; they're both under 3 hours. So I was like, I can do these, get them clear, trying to clear out some of the gameplays because I'm trying to get better with getting them up. And next I have to delve into start getting Ted's back up.
The Hell Project of mine. Yeah,
there's just that one. It's like once I get over that bump, it'll be good. I considered outsourcing it. Like send this. I don't care. It's probably gonna take you guys a week to do this, but that's fine. So Adam said, I'm planning on orc encounters. What monsters would you pair with them? They are in the orc hierarchy. So like always, like ogres work really good with that. Trolls work good with that. Wargs work good with that. Really, it depends on what level your players are and what kind of monster you need. Like, if you want weaker monsters, they could be bullying or have enslaved kobolds or goblins easily. They all fit in nicely. Or, they have guard beasts, like, maybe they've got a somewhat domesticated owlbear.
I was thinking, even weaker, you could go with like, giant pigs or boars.
That would work as well. Yeah. So, any kind of like guardian monster or animal that they might have tamed. But the biggest thing is like, well, what level encounter are you shooting for? What are you playing for? If you have Revenge of the Horde, you could probably literally open that book up to the orc section and be like, what level of encounter am I trying to plan? And it will give you monsters, various orcs, and it might include some other things as well.
Absolutely. Happy Chap 84 says, when open rolling, your BBEG can't roll over a 5. What do you do?
Suck it. That's what you do. And you put on your big boy pants and just realize your monster's getting traipsed this time around.
You get some minions out there, you have them do the help action to give him advantage, and now you're rolling extra dice. Rolling with advantage totally changes the whole mechanic of a boss fight.
Unless you just roll 2 sets of crappy numbers.
Then you're picking new dice. You ever heard of the sledgehammer method?
Telephone.
And I'm going to disappear to get rid of that.
You're going to get rid of the telephone? Yeah. So, I would probably just let it roll. But you could do what Ted said. You can introduce more monsters, more threats into the mix. You can change things up that way. You could have the monster retreat. Maybe he'll do better next time. So there's options out there. But I don't think it's a big deal. So what? Your players have an easy fight. They get to feel good about themselves.
Every once in a while, that's good for the morale of the session, or good for the morale of the group, that the players just trounce something. Makes it that much more meaningful when you bring back the hammer on the next one.
And it proves that you're giving the dice agency in your game.
Absolutely.
French taunter. So does that mean you're French and you taunt people, or do you taunt French people?
I believe he's a French person who taunts.
Monty
Python thing. Certainly.
Have you ever had a TPK using Tucker's kobolds or any other viciously cunning creatures? Not Tucker's kobolds specifically. Not a TPK, but I did kill a character or two with goblins wearing full plate riding wargs with lances, maybe at some point a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Goblins wearing like full plate on wargs with heavy war lances, critting on the first attack. I got a picture to commemorate it over in the drawer over there.
Nice. Drawn by the slain.
Drawn by the slain. So what monsters do you think would be best to use or reskin for low-level Eldritch monstrosities?
it depends what you consider low level, but anything like, it just depends what you're going for. Do you want them to have poison attacks or maybe replace poison with acid or something like flying snakes might be a good one.
Are you looking for something that's actually using magic? Because using the term eldritch, you could literally reskin the apprentice or the mage. They're like low level encounters.
Well, when they say that makes me think Cthulhu. But that being said, it could be a tentacle creature that's just a mass of writhing tentacles that is, speaking deep speech and casting spells. That would work fine. You can use zombies. They work fine. Like I said, you can use a flying snake and just turn it into something else. Maybe they're like lampreys that fly through the air or something like that. Instead of poison damage, they're going to do acid damage.
So Anthony Davidson says, "Hey guys, I'm a big fan. Thank you for your channel. Thank you for watching and listening, Anthony. It's glad to have you here."
Kenyetta, Cody, what rules would you implement around a player wanting to start a business such as something like a mercenaries guild? Well, you kind of have something similar to this in your game, Ted.
What do you mean?
Mark started a bounty hunting agency.
Well, I mean,
it just kind of happens in the background, though.
I don't make it a big portion. I mean, Nate's got his own merchanting business. Mark's got his own bounty hunting agency. Unless there's something that I feel really is gonna tie into the story, I just kind of let that sit out there until they want to do something specific with it.
So Jason Cropper, question: I want to do a session 0 with individual players and build their backgrounds with them, such as they help me build their hometown, family, etc. Have backgrounds come out through RP. Hate it. It's your game. Do however you want. We've done this before, but it really defeats the purpose of a session 0 when you do this. Like, the session 0 really is to get connectivity in the group and the players and having everyone build like the game you're going to play together. You're going to build 4 to 6 separate games like this, and then you're going to try and weave and tie them together. Can you do it? Sure. Done it before. I realize it's a pain in the ass now, and it's not worth the effort. So, but if you want to do it, you can. But I think it would be much better to build your campaign together and have all the players moving in the same direction. Because what if one player, your first player comes up with some ideas, and then the next player comes up with ideas and they don't jive together? Like, then you have to figure out how to mix them together or tell one of your players no. Mm-hmm. Where if you guys kind of did it all at the table together, it would be, there would be more cohesion going forward.
So Mind Milk D20 says, how can you balance a game between a group that is mixed between folks that just want to play it like a war game and other folks that want to RP, but all want to play together?
I'm glad you asked this, My Milk D20, because I believe you asked it the other day when we were wrapping up. So the trick is to try and put elements in for each of them. And as long as they're not like upset when the other people get their chance to shine and play the game they want to play, it's not a big deal. Unless they're expressing concern, then you're going to be like, guys, look, you want this, you guys want peanut butter and you want chocolate, but you're saying we can't mix them. So that means, Reese's is not going to work here. Either we have to play one game or the other, or you guys have to compromise somewhere. But I would start with a discussion with the players and, in like a session 0, or even if you do like an impromptu session 0 after you've already begun, and be like, hey, let's rehash some things. This is what I'm getting from Joe and Sally, but Michelle and Bob are like over here. Can we like find some middle ground? What do you guys think of this? And they might even say things that you weren't even thinking and didn't realize.
So I actually have a mixed party that I run for. I have some people, some of my players are very into the combat angle of the game and aren't really invested in the RP of it. They might enjoy some of this stuff and they might get entertained by the other people, but they're not looking to do all the RP and all the discussions. Whereas the other players, they're in for the mix or they're in for just the RP. So I have a good, diverse group. And I'm running the game to try and do my best to satisfy for all the players.
So Underwood Sketches question, how do you keep I don't know why I always re-question. How do you keep the story at a good pace when you have a limited number of sessions? I'm running a group at school, but I'm a senior. So you're going to go away. The game's going to end. So that could be tricky because like you can have like an end in mind, but there's no way guaranteeing that the players are going to get there. So you might have to scrap some stuff, or you may have to push the timetables up on something. Literally the only way to do that is to feel it out as you go and kind of get an idea for what your players accomplish each session. You're going to know better than we are, like the pace of your games.
So one of the things that you can do is if you have story elements that you want to have happen, you could kind of look at how TV episodes are done and how some of them start where the problem has already been in motion, or they've solved the problem, but it led to a new problem. So, okay, last time we left off here. Well, in the meantime, you guys did this, and this is what you uncovered. So you push that all into a narrative, and now they move on to the second part. So you're getting essentially twice the story out of each session, or as much extra as you're willing to actually put into a fluff and a narrative between sessions.
What Ted said. Happy Chap 84 question. Are you going to do another D&D Beyond vid? Have you used it? Is it worth it? We do use it. We're probably going to do some cool things with it in the future that we're just holding off on right now. Hey, if you think it'd be really cool for us to do series and stuff on D&D Beyond, tweet at them. Be like, tweet at them and say, hey, it'd be really cool if Nerdarchy did some stuff over here. Let them know there's a demand for this kind of content.
But we absolutely love D&D Beyond. So yes, absolutely. It's worth it. Use it.
So Mickey V, hey guys, question. If necromancy is in theory for evil people, then how come a knight can kill in the name of good? Well, because he's not desecrating the bodies, for one, or infusing the corpses with negative energy or necrotic energy, if you like. But it's bad to rise ones he's slain. Besides, the spells that use necromancy, to heal allies. Well, so there's the difference. Like, I'm okay with necromancy if you're talking about invoking spirits. The instant you raise and animate the dead, you've gone into the evil category, in my opinion. I'm not even religious, and I think it's disrespectful to the bodies, and it's inappropriate to do, at the very least.
And your interpretation of the rules, because there is a difference between animate object and animate dead, that it's literally capturing maybe not the soul, but a soul to infuse that corpse with the semblance of life to some degree to act.
Yeah, and that's not canon. That's just rules as written. That's just in my games, in my campaign. That's how I interpret it. Some of that is flavored from previous editions of the game and how I personally feel about people that invoke undead. So undead are universally generally evil for the most part anyway. So those who control them can't really be good.
So I was apparently wrong. Fraginator's in the chat. So
you lied to me.
Somehow he's supposed to be at a training class, or as he spoke, you
just
so many hours ago.
Maybe he's in it. Maybe he's in it. Like, got the video going on.
I hope the training course is going well if you're there.
So Elfbait, not a question, but a comment that I found interesting. Note on session 0, mine is having delayed reactions, positive results. So Elfbait had posted in our secret Company of the Nag group on Facebook, which you guys can join. If you just search out Company of the Nag on Facebook, it'll come up. Maybe I'll put it in the description at some point. But then it won't be very secret. It's only for exclusive Nerdarchy fans or people that click join the group button. I did eventually get around to adding a question. You have to answer the question to get in, I think.
Oh, man. That's an extra layer.
I know. I wanted to keep out some spammers if possible. So, yeah, but he had posted about, he did a session 0 and it didn't yield the result that he thought it would. And then players didn't really seem into it. But that's cool that now it's kind of bearing some fruit. That's awesome. Nathan Kelly has a question. How do you feel about two rival parties in the same world, like a rave party and maybe a stoner party? No,
I think they mean
party.
adventuring parties. Yeah. The problem with doing something like this, you're eventually going to have the possibility of confrontation between the two groups. And if you're not, unless you are working to a point where you're going to bring all the players together just to have them duke it out, it becomes a challenge of, okay, well, what happens if they attack the dwarf while the dwarf is not here? And okay, well, they kill the dwarf. Well, now how do you tell the player, oh, by the way, last other session, your character died? It's kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that with the crossover. It's tricky and stuff. And also on the necromancy thing, like, guys, you can do whatever you want in your game. I don't care. It's cool. I'm just giving you my opinion on it. So, talking to Nate the Nerdarch. There's a couple people say ditch the war gamers, which I don't know. I like different people in the hobby, so I don't really care as long as you can find that middle ground for people to kind of hang out and have fun. And there's the great thing about this hobby, there's a lot of different ways to enjoy it. And when you look at a game like Dungeons and Dragons that was literally spawned by a war game, I don't think there's really a need to alienate people because they play that game that way. And also, like me and Doug Vahovic, the chief in Nerdator, were having a conversation, and like, 20 years ago, the game was played much different. Like if you're, if you come from that era, maybe you still play it that way. Actually, there's a bunch of people that do because the OSR sprung up around that. So there's a whole movement for that. And, or if you're coming back to the hobby, maybe that's what you remember.
Elfbait says, I'm a war gamer. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Is he the one that said ditch the war gamers? Like, maybe. But all I'm saying is I feel like there's enough room. There's enough room in the hobby for everybody. You just need to find people that are compatible with what you're doing.
So we want to move on to some of the prepared questions.
If you want to, sure.
All right. So this one, the sum up of, how do you deal with dividing loot? So this is coming in by Shaman Bill. And it's like he comes across the problem frequently where he doesn't want to just be like, okay, you find this, you find this, you find this, so that everybody gets the prescribed item.
Yeah.
But if he puts out, well, here's the whole bunch of stuff, then things just kind of wind up wherever. And
welcome to D&D. That literally is basically what happens. Look, in my last game, the friggin' mount ended up with the circular blasting. Don't ask. So these things can happen. I may have actually instigated that, but yeah, who cares? Like you can put things in for specific players, but if they give it to a different player or they don't see the value the way you did, it's fine. It's their character. They're going to play it however they want. Maybe they're going to figure it out later in the game. As long as they're having fun and they're figuring it out for themselves, there's nothing wrong with that. There are other ways to make sure you specifically give things to specific players. But for the most part, as a DM, I do not interfere with how they divide loot, what they do with it. That's purely a player decision.
If you're looking to give out specific abilities to characters that you want to have in items, you can have those things come about by contact with something or a greater being bestow it upon them as a kind of quest reward. And then as opposed to, oh, you have this thing, it's you now have this ability. And since it's bestowed upon them, there's no, oh, well, I'm going to hand this to the guy next to me. No, this is what you get, like it or not.
Nate the Nerdarch says we should repeat the Patreon words for this February. Do you know what they are?
No.
Is there anything about love in there? Did he do any Valentine's Day theme stuff? We can't, Nate. We don't have it prepared. Unless Ted has a pile of papers.
I got a pile of papers, but
whether it's in there or not,
whether it's in here or not is a whole other question. It was a great thing that could be happening. Nate could throw it up in the chat and we could read that off.
Yeah. So Fraginator, I showed my wife, and now her and the kids are saying I'm famous. They're going around calling me your nerdness.
Your nerdiness.
Your nerdiness. That is pretty funny. Your big claim to fame.
Because he's in a Nerdarchy video.
I guess, or because we mentioned him or something. So FGC in the house. Good afternoon, Nerdarchy. Hey, Fantasy Grounds College.
So
I'd have your.
And as I've said before, I'm my son's den leader for Cub Scouts. And the one day I go to a meeting and, we're getting ready to get things started. And one of the kids like, I saw you on YouTube. And I'm like, okay.
Prove it. Prove you saw me on YouTube.
I'm like, yeah.
I'll gouge your eyes out, you little bastard. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything.
So, I'm like, yeah, I have a YouTube channel, and I had told, a handful of the adults previously, and his dad actually used me as an example about, okay, how much reach someone can have, and, how things happen.
Reach about here.
I don't mean physical.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was kind of a learning thing for the boy.
Oh, you know what? Go back to the loot question too. For Shaman Bill, who shows up in a lot of our live chats, which we appreciate. One of the things I will do sometimes too, and you've done it as well, is have something happen where something they already own becomes magical, right? So it's literally in their hand. They've been using it. They will physically have to give it away now and not want it anymore to change that. I've also had a character knighted and bestowed power upon one of their items, and there's definitely ways that you can specifically hand things to the characters. But if you're like, here's a pile of loot, well, you've just given agency to the players. They're going to do whatever they do. Yep, not wrong with that. There was an awesome question from Happy Chap 84. How do you guys, or do you guys have a Nerdarchy Appendix N? We don't, but I really feel like we should now.
What would be an Appendix N?
I don't know. We've got to put stuff in there. Just make stuff up. Oh, Fantasy Ground College. We got a super chat. That's what it's called, right? Super chat. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Woo, money. Dad, I think you have to take some of your clothes off now. Sorry, bud. You wear a lot of clothes though, so you got like 6 shirts on and 17 pairs of pants, 3 pairs of underwear. Don't ask how I know.
3 shirts. But that's because, I keep my house way too cold.
Fragility?
Fragility, yep.
Oh, man. All right, there are no more questions. It's time for us to go home. But in that case, you're already home.
All right, so Torak Darkstorm. I want to preface by saying thank you for answering my previous one of these, but I have another one. I haven't introduced the...
Whoa. He's hit his limit. Tear it up.
I haven't introduced the idea to my players yet, but I'm going to sort of have a chosen one. The problem is I face that none of the players are the chosen one. In my world, there are creatures that come from a place equivalent to Shadowfell. These creatures are shapeshifters who take the form of anyone or anything they consume, as well as some of their abilities. The hero in mention has been locked away for several millennia out of fear because he is the only remaining person with the capability of killing these creatures. My worry is that having someone like this could take away from the player's enjoyment as I find out the monsters that they can't kill and there's someone else who can, especially since they will be the ones who have to free him from his imprisonment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Keep up the great work, and thank you. Thoughts?
I wasn't even paying attention. I was reading the comments.
You suck. All right, so
here, start answering. I'll jump in along the way.
All right, so he's got this guy who's going to be able to defeat these creatures. So my interpretation is, all right, the challenge of the game is just to free him. Once he's freed, he's going to handle everything else. So that's the culmination of your game. They free him, he saves the world, they save the world together, campaign over. Don't make it about them traveling with him defeating these creatures. If you have to do your story your way, that's the way I would do it.
Yeah, that's going to be weak if he has to. Like, if they're going to be second fiddle to this awesome guy, that's lame. You like what Ted said, the culmination is freeing dude. If you don't free dude, really bad things happen. That's the win. That's the win for them. You summon good Cthulhu. He takes care of the problems.
Summon good
and then the adventurers go off to do their own thing. Maybe he gives them a thank you for freeing him or whatever, or sends them off on tasks that need to be completed somewhere else. That would actually be a better way. Turn him into a quest giver, and he's like, I'm going to handle this over here, but you know, my house, I've been locked out of there for centuries. Could you go clean it for me or something?
All right, just you know, another thought, another idea. This is what legends believe. He's the only one that can deal with it. They wake him up. They're with him when they go to fight. He dies, and he bestows his power to affect these creatures to the adventuring party. Now they have to go finish the quest.
I like that too. Be like, what? I thought you were going to be taller.
So like
he gets wiped fast.
So you've got to make the players be the thing. You can't give them second rung. You can't give them second fiddle. It's just not going to work and have the players really buying in. They're going to like, dude, can we?
You totally willow them. And they're like, you were the chosen ones all along. Surprise. or Kung Fu Panda, and they go to, like, they open the cell to free the chosen one, and it's a mirror. What? It's empty. Someone just left their mirror here. I don't get it. Nice. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of ways you can do it. But if you have to do the chosen one free him, he's going to solve the problem. Oh, then he, you know, gifts them and then tells them to go do something else. Or, you know, or maybe they inadvertently get banished themselves into the prison world. You know, maybe he wasn't really that great to begin with. There was a reason why he was locked up. And then they have to, like, figure out how to get free from there. And then they have to kick his ass for a little. That'd be cool for a plot twist, I think.
How do you guys feel about the Dresden Files game? I want to play this, but for some reason I cannot wrap my head around the gameplay. Are you talking about the Fate RPG, or are you talking about the card game, board game, Richard? If you're talking about the Fate game, I have yet to actually play it. If you're talking about the board game, I do own it and all its, you know, expansions. I've played it a couple of times, and even on easy, it is a bit interesting. You kind of have to leave everything close to done and try to resolve as much as possible during the showdown. That's my takeaway on it. Played 2 solid games twice. First time we got our butts kicked. Second time we barely scraped a win ahead, and that's where we figured out the strategy of, you know, leaving things close. That's the real key. But I think it's kind of a pandemic sort of game where winning ain't easy.
Then there's Fate Accelerated Dresden Files, which you own, but we haven't delved into. We both own the core book for Fate Core Dresden Files. I've read half of it. And like a year or two ago, and then just stopped reading for no reason.
Yeah, my stuff's way down here.
It actually reads really well as far as like an RPG book goes. It's you know the player's handbook and the DMG and monster manual, they're interesting because I'm interested in the material. But like for someone who isn't, to pick it up and start reading it, like it's gonna read like stereo instructions. So I think the Dresden Files book does a way better job, and it's got some really interesting sections about building the city. I think that's a fun part of the pregame is where you guys build the city together that you're going to actually play in.
I haven't got to that part yet. So,
which part are you at, Ted?
The beginning. I don't read books very, very well when it comes to RPGs. I learn much better by playing the game. So once I've played a little bit, then I actually go in and I can absorb the material much better. So yeah, I got them for Christmas and they're still just on the shelf.
Yeah, that's like, so this is what we do. This is our MO. We find another gamer that knows the rules and we try and sucker them into playing the game running the game for us.
Like Asa is going to run Dungeon World for us in the next month.
Yeah, I think we have something coming up for that. I'll make the character the day before or something.
February 25th, it'll be the game. Don't know the exact time yet. I will be playing a salamander emulator. Not an emulator. Emulator. The biggest. Not a copycat. I'm a fire guy.
So Seth, or Sath. I guess it's Sath. Do you find the races in D&D equal in what they give players? Cause 5th has better class balance than other versions, but I don't think the races are balanced. Nope, they're not at all. Dwarves and elves are better than pretty much everybody else,
except for the serpent guys.
Oh, yeah, but they're not really. They're in that section that says these are not actually balanced and these are monsters. It's not.
You don't type pure blood. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, they're kind of set aside from everybody else.
You were also saying Tabaxi are up there with all.
Yeah, Tabaxi are pretty good. I mean, between feline agility, a climb speed, they get a couple skill proficiencies,
natural attacks.
That's kind of more of a ribbon thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I can stab you with a dagger or use these claws. It only really matters if you guys are like unarmed. I think someone was talking about wanting to have a battle master Tabaxi that fights with natural weapons, and they're like, "Is that legal?" I'm like, "Who cares?" Sounds like fun, and it's definitely it's not like they're trying to overpower the game with their character. I assure you, you'll be fine. I think Nate's doing battle in the chat. I'm not sure though.
Elves are better than the dwarf. Yep, elves are better than everything according to Cody Sams.
Listen, guys, you can have any wrong opinion you want. That's fine. Mountain dwarf equals master race.
If you say so.
They do get a +4 to their stats.
They do.
Only the half elf gets a +4 to their stats, I think. In the PHB, anyway.
Technically, humans have a +6.
Well, that is true. So you're going to put a bunch of pluses that you're not going to use, probably. You better hope you have a bunch of odd stats.
Well, you could technically plan it that way with a point buy.
That is true. I mean, I think we did figure it out. Like you can get like all 14s almost, and then like a 12 or something.
I think.
Yeah, which part of me wants to play that character. Warforged hashtag Warforged Master Race, not the version we have so far. This still needs a little work.
What is in your opinion, the best way to get players into D&D? I'm addicted and I want more people to join the madness, but I always seem to roll natural 1 persuasion on them. So that's from the French Toner.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little tough because it can be intimidating at first. That's why a lot of these streams like Maze Arcana and Critical Role are really doing a lot to bring people into the hobby. One, it's not like showing guys that look like us playing the game. Like these people are like young and hip and good looking. And, so that's just more attractive to bringing people into the hobby.
As opposed to the typical beard and glasses.
Yeah, the Gleards. So like, that's actually kind of like a good place to start, is like trying to get them to check out stuff like that. Oh no, we got more money. You super chat.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Have you guys played Star Wars Saga Edition? You played it, right?
1 second. I want to go on there's a comment from Mr. L. There are only 2 races, wizards and peasants.
There you go.
So Saga Edition, I don't know, like there was, I believe, 3 different versions.
There was a D20, there was a D6.
I played the D6 version and I played a couple different characters. And that was over 20 years ago. So I don't remember much beyond the fact that I had a Jawa that was like, I actually took the Jawa action figure and taped that to my character sheet in the actual portrait section.
That's the best, Ted.
So I remember that, and I would have him, folded up. But when I was a teenager, I had a friend who, lived pretty close in town, and I would throw on a backpack and I would ride my bike through like a non-road section.
The Wizard of Oz music is playing in my head now, Ted.
But I would ride my bike to my friend's house, and we would game after school. And we played a bunch of different things. We played Star Wars. We would play Shadowrun. We would play D&D and a handful of other things. I don't really remember the other stuff as much.
I honestly never played any Star Wars until after we started Nerdarchy. Like, we've played other games like Star Frontiers, Gamma World. We didn't do a whole lot with science fiction. I wish we would have played more Star Frontiers. I think I would like to go back and check that one out. So Bards in the Basement question. 2 players in my game live in another city. We like to stream the games, but distance won't permit. Should we continue without them or play once every 2 months? I would say continue without them, and once every 2 months have them play with you.
That works for me.
Yeah. So this way, because when you stop, like that's just like, so you play once every 2 months. Well, in 2 months, one of your players can't show up, or 2 players can't show up for whatever reason. What do you do then? Right now, you haven't played in 4 months. Your group has pretty much ended. You might as well fill out the ranks, and hopefully your friends in their other cities will do the same, and start new groups and play D&D or whatever tabletop game they want to play.
Yeah, it's best to keep the games going as best as you can. We've had our group possibly get close to really falling apart over the last 20 some years that we've been gaming together. There was like a 3 to 6 month span where we had stopped gaming, and it was because things had trickled down. This person moved away. This person had stuff going on. This person had stuff going on. And it finally was like, all right, we need to get back, into doing this. And we just kind of put our foot down. I think it was Dave who, was like, enough is enough. I need a game.
Yeah. Like if we keep doing this, we're just not going to game. This is stupid. Let's just move on and admit we're adults now and have busy lives.
I think that's where you started the Shattered Realm game, right?
Yeah. So I lured them all in by making it ridiculous and giving out loot.
Well, you actually were like, here's the characters, pick one, we're playing, and we just moved.
And there was also the Gestalt game. I think the Gestalt game was kind of inspired by we couldn't get together. And I was like, let's play Gestalt, and it's just going to be a dungeon crawl all the time, every time. And I think that was in there as well.
It was not only Gestalt, but it was like template enforced.
Oh yeah. You could use
up to like 3 ECL or something along those lines.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a silly game.
We've been known to do such things. Cody Sams, I have a character concept: assassin, blade, warlock, multiclass. Kill someone in the middle of the busy street. What? I don't have a weapon. As you dismiss it with warlock powers. Thoughts? Well, it's not like the modern day legal system where they really need hard facts. If enough people point to you and say murderer, chances are the watch will show up and lock you up as if you did it. You could even be not the guy that did it. Yeah. The better play would be like to accuse someone else standing next to you or whatever.
He did it.
And get enough of the mob to agree with you. So it's this isn't CSI here. Justice isn't going to be meted out quite the way it is today, sort of.
Nicholas Petticord, how would you go about bringing up weaker races if you're trying to encourage them in your campaign without making those more powerful in the race should be flavor wise?
Well, first of all, I don't really understand what are the weaker races. Like,
well, we talked about like elf and dwarf kind of get the most.
Like Dragonborn suck pretty much. Like thematically they're cool, but look at their abilities. They get a portion of what other races get, like the tiefling, without any of the other cool stuff. Their keystone ability becomes useless really fast. I know people argue with me, but I don't care. Like, yes, you can do 2d6 or 4d6 points of energy damage to a handful of targets. Big deal. A fighter hitting something with a greatsword does way more damage, and eventually they get cool things that gives them a bunch of attacks. So like barely touching a bunch of things compared to really whopping some stuff is far more effective in the game. That being said, it doesn't mean they're not cool and fun to play, but I don't feel like it's a problem. I feel like a lot of times players just play what they think is cool anyway.
So with our game, with our world, Dragonborn, they use their breath attack as a bonus action. That makes it actually usable. So
Happy Chap 84 question: have you done an office den tour? Would love to see it up close. What's on the shelves? We have. Ted did. I lost half the video somehow. So, and we talked about it and we decided we want to do it better anyway, where one of us is going to hold the camera and the other person, probably Ted, will kind of like Vanna White everything and tell you guys what it is. And or I could do the Vanilla and be like, here's more of Ted's stuff. I don't know what this thing is. It looks kind of cool. And this thing, I don't know why it has it. It's Plastic Obsession. I don't know. Oh, look, D&D books. I understand this.
So yeah, lots of lots of plans, lots of things. I recorded it, I think, back in November, and they've lost the footage sometime, I think, in December, and it's just hard to get the time to squeeze in there and record an extra video.
I think a big part of it too is wanting to do it better as well. Instead of like Ted having to hold the camera and kind of show things off and talk about it, I think it'd be cooler if we can do it better, is all I'm saying. And we will at some point. We don't know if we'll put it up on YouTube, maybe put it on Patreon. I don't know. We'll put it someplace. Let's see. Mike Francis, thanks again, man. Another super chat. Shameless self-plug. If you need a voiceover for a video or two or 100, I got you. Just saying, we'd love to help. You know what? Email us. If we can think of something to do with that, we definitely will.
Nerdarchy@gmail.com.
And especially if you send a sample, if you're doing voiceovers and stuff like that already, that would be cool. Keto in a world. Nicholas Petticord. That's actually the one you had tackled with the races.
Yep.
That was the den. We got that. Check.
That one.
This is like the last week, guys, to sign up for Patreon if you want to get involved in the Patreon rewards. And in the near future, we'll be doing something different with that. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if Nate ever put the stuff in the chat, but I didn't see it, and Dave didn't either. So we do lots of cool stuff. We have 5 different levels where we actually send digital stuff out. We have a Mage Forge, typically make a magic item or several, depending upon how the month goes. We have Friend or Foe. We have Monster Menagerie. Friend or Foe is we make an NPC that you could use as an adversary or as a quest giver or someone to just insert into your game. Comes with a stat block, easy to go. Monster Menagerie, pretty cut and dry. We make a monster. We have Terrible Terrain. This is where we take one of those Friend or Foe or Monster Menagerie. We put that into an encounter that's set up and ready to go. Lastly is our kind of catch-all. There's a Lost Lore. We've been known to do spells. We've known to do archetypes. We've done poisons. We've done a variety of different things.
Curses, diseases, a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
So lots of fun stuff that can go in there. And every level that you support us at, you get everything at that level and below. So for $10 a month, you get access to all of it. Comes in a cool PDF form. Good stuff.
Yeah. Also, people have asked before, how do you game with us? Because we do the monthly fan game, and like all of our patrons get entered into that to randomly select it, as well as we have a free way of entering. If you sign up for the Nerdarchy newsletter, it is in the description, but it might not be in the description today because we ran out of room because of Kickstarters and other things we've done. But it's always in the description of pretty much every video we do. So if you sign up for that, that'll show you how to get on a special list that we draw from for people to play in the games with us. That's completely free. If you're also a patron, that's 2 entries every month. We select people. We usually select 10 names. And
we select 10 names every month. I'm the one that pulls it randomly. I compile it all into one spreadsheet. I hit a random number generator. I grab 10 names out of it, and we contact those people. Typically between those 10, you may or may not wrangle a full set of 4 to 5 players. If not, then we can go out to the masses, either to the company, the NAG, or to Patreon, or sometimes even to chat entries.
Yeah, we've done it all different ways. So Nathan Nardark said February we've got Mage Forge, Bone Quartet, Monster Menagerie, the Enraptured. We've got Friend or Foe, the Corpse Minstrel Dirge. We have Terrible Terrain, Enchantress's Castle, and we have for Lost Lore, Curses.
Nice.
So some good stuff going on over there. And it's been asked before, and I will say it for people that who are not watching live because the chat goes away. There's also a Discord for Nerdarchy now. Nate the Nerdark haunts over there quite often. I dip in from time to time. It's very confusing though because we use the same account, so you'll never know who you're actually talking to.
I keep meaning to get into it. Unfortunately, there's always something that keeps punching my schedule out of the way. But at some point in time, I will be on Discord. Mine will be Nerdarchy 10. I'm not going to sign in under just Nerdarchy.
I will always assert I am Nerdarchy. I'll sign in under Nerdarchy. No, yeah, we should probably all get like separate thingamabobs. That would probably make it easier. I do try, like they emojied us over there. So when I do talk though now, I try to remember to, add my emoji because it's funny. Happy chat. By the way, love the Thundercats t-shirt. Thanks. All about the Thundercats from my childhood.
I love the Thundercats.
Let's see. Kenyetta is telling people what the super chat is, which is cool because when you hit that button and you have an account set up, it sends us money, and we like money. Woohoo!
So we got Cody Sams. Rations, to use them or ignore. I feel it slows the game a bit, much less when they are just traveling than maybe. So basically, rations. Do you worry about food in the game or do you not?
I'm laughing at Freyanator. Yeah, I think we hand wave a lot of stuff. It's like, do you have it written down your character sheet good enough? And it's just one of those things we feel like most of the adventures, especially after you get a certain point, is like it's just like pointless bookkeeping that they would know to do anyway, like their characters. Like, sure, the player could forget easily to write down rations or worry about it, but the character living in that world probably not so much because it's their belly that's going to be grumbling. And I've played with enough gotcha DMs. Oh, you didn't write that down? Oh, you didn't cross off those arrows? Like, come on.
So it really depends upon the style of game that you're running. If you're trying to run a survival game and you're not going to just be able to pick up rations and there's only so much food that can be scavenged or found, then it becomes important. If you're not running that kind of game, hand wave it and move on because it's not integral to the game.
Yeah, so Friganator says, I'm playing with it now, meaning the Discord can't be that hard for you to figure out Discord. No, but we just make it extra confusing. Jason Spurlock, hey guys, remember question in front of your questions. It makes it easier for us to find them. What suggestions would you have for a DM who is trying to start to understand online play better than versus tabletop? I don't know. It's kind of the same. It's really the difference a lot of times of theater of the mind versus whether you're using terrain and minis and stuff like that. And it depends, like, what is your objective with playing online? Are you doing it like we're doing it, or some other channels are doing it, or streamers are doing it where it's entertainment? Yeah, then you have more things to think about, and you want to think about how to keep the game moving and entertaining for people watching. But if it just so happens that you're gaming online because that's where you found people to connect with and you're just playing the game and this is the medium, there's nothing. You just play the game how you would normally play it. If if you're using a virtual tabletop, you have the dice rolling there, you have their maps, you have all that stuff. If you're using theater of the mind and you guys are physically rolling dice, then you're just going to play it that way. And I've even heard people say, well, what if you play that way and someone's cheating? I'm like, well, if you got to cheat at a game where that's a cooperative story, then whatever. You're probably going to figure it out eventually as the GM. It's like you roll 20s all the time.
It doesn't matter whether you're at the table in person or whether there's you're playing online. The people who feel that they need to change the dice rolls or quote unquote cheat, they're going to do it wherever. And if it's important to you, it's important to you. If it's not important to you, it's not important. I don't care. To me, it's about the story and having fun. Then it is about, did I do my 7 damage this round, or did I avoid this attack? Sucks if my character dies. I can be heavily invested, but I can always roll up a new one and get involved in the story another way.
Also, too, guys, like if we're not on a live chat and you're looking for something, check on the homepage for the Nerdarchy YouTube. there's a search feature. It's kind of hard to find, but it's listed along like all the other things, like, you know, the home, video, about, like,
Playlist.
Playlist, all those things, the menu there. At the very end of it, there is the little magnifying glass. You can search the channel, and we have thousands of videos. So there's a possibility we've covered it, as well as if you go over to nerdarchy.com, there's also a search bar there and categories, so you can find stuff. And there's, you know, between those two spots, we're closing in on like 4,000 pieces of content.
Sorry, Mike Fraginator says, I roll 20s all the time. If you see any of the gameplays that he's in, you know that he
cheats the other way because he thinks it's unfair to Ted, you know, so he has to ratchet it back a little bit. He's offended the dice gods in some way, shape, or form, and we need to just find a way to appease them. Truemate has a question. What have been one of your favorite uses of a hallucinatory terrain spell? I have had a sand hag in the upcoming game, and I'm trying to think of ideas. So I don't know that I've actually used that spell. If I have, it's been a long time. I have not. I'm pretty sure we've interacted that, you know, but if I was going to use it in the way you're talking about, I would put hazards out all over the place. And if your characters don't have a way to see through the hallucinatory terrain, they're going to be running into them. And to make it better, I would have a way for the hag to be able to see through that stuff. So you'd put real hazards out there, and then the hallucinatory terrain is, you know, shiny, happy fields of pleasantness. Yes. Nice. You know, like pits full of lion ants and flying snakes and, you know, traps and quicksand and stuff like that. And then have the hag on the other side with her minions and archers pelting the players. Yeah, if you want to be a real jerk about it, that would be, yeah, one way to go about it. Happy chat. YouTube search is practically a hidden feature. UT needs to improve their shit. Yeah, it is. It is really hard to find. And also, like, even though if you search something general and just add Nerdarchy to it for the general search, you'll generally pull up one of our videos on said topic as well. But is there anyone, you know, putting up Nerdarchy stuff? It's not us. Jim Davis used it pretty good in. Did he use hallucinatory terrain? I don't even remember. Oh, yes. Well, sort of. I don't think he was using this spell like out of the book per se, but he had like this whole mansion that was nothing but illusions. It was an illusionist mansion, so everything was kind of illusions. But that would be kind of like a good example. Running with a small group, give them NPC help, hirelings, or just scale things down to be a two-man capable. Yeah, here, hold on a second. No, you don't have to do that. Scale it down. Don't watch this Scarlet Sisterhood. Look for the sessions where there's only 2 players. They do it all the time. You know what they get? They get shit. They don't get shit. They figure it out. They make it work. The freaking bard has to tank. Okay, sometimes it's just the way it is. Now I wonder, did you moon the camera by doing that? They probably didn't even see me banging my head on the table. But yeah, you know, just tell a different story. That's all, man. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna enjoy it. You can run stories you can't run with a full D&D party. You can run stories that are like you would read in a comic book or in a novel that just doesn't work with a large party of adventurers. Do that. It's true. Do lots of role playing. Have interaction with NPCs. You know, it's going to be all right. And if they die, they get to make new characters. It's brilliant. Only put an NPC with them if the NPC plans on killing them in their sleep. That's a good idea. So yeah, I don't know. Henchmen and hirelings should be. It should only happen if the players instigate it and kind of push for it and want it to happen. Otherwise, as the GM, I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't try and fill roles or gaps in the party. I'd just play the game. Because the last thing you want is an NPC outshining a PC. Oh, thank you, Mild Milk, coming in right under the wire. Nerdarchy rules. Self promo. Sub my tiny channel. Go check out Mind Milk D20. I'll have to look you up and see what you got going on, man. Which I bring other YouTubers on, smaller YouTubers, to do the daily live chats if they're available and they want to. The only caveat is I just want to see that you're consistent and been doing content for at least a little while. I don't care how big or small your channel is. I just want to see that you're doing and you're serious as well. But thank you for the super chat. Hey, was that a euro? The weird symbol in front of it. was that a pound? It was. Oh my god, we got our first pounds. What does that mean? What does that equate to in dollars? Oh man, you just made my day. But anyway, guys, it's about that time. We still have some more videos to shoot. We will catch you on the flip side, man. Till next time,
stay nerdy.